Dubai Parks and Resorts, opening up in 2016, is the largest scale project ever undertaken in the history of themed entertainment. Not one, not two, but 3 theme parks, a water park, a hotel, and a shopping and dining area, all opening up at the same time. The resort was set to feature some of the world's most known brands, from the Smurfs to Ghostbusters to Shrek to Lego and so many more. But when they finally opened the gates, no one came. And to say what was contained within the parks was a disappointment would be an understatement. The parks opened with lackluster attractions and struggled to bring in 2,000 guests a day for their first year of operation. So what happened? How did such grandiose plans crash and burn so hard? Let's find out. For ReviewTyme, I'm Luke, and this is the story of Dubai Parks and Resorts. Dubai's successfully opened theme park failure. First announced on November 27, 2012, Phase 1 of Dubai Parks and Resorts was originally set to be home to 5 theme parks, linked by a shopping and dining area. The resort was set to be designed and constructed by a state-owned property and investment company called Morass Holding. Other than the 3 parks that would eventually call the resort home, Phase 1 also intended to include a marine life park, showcasing aquatic life, animal encounters and live shows, as well as a night safari park, themed around the adventures of the wild desert. The $2.9 billion project was first set to open up in 2014 and grow and create the ultimate holiday destination in the build-up to Dubai's World's Fair, the Dubai 2020 Expo. The CEO of Morass Holding said they were going to bring a Florida-style entertainment offering to the United Arab Emirates, in a similar fashion to Walt Disney World, which features multiple resort hotels, theme parks and shopping districts, all under one location. Dubai Parks and Resorts takes up a large parcel of land only around 20 minutes away from the Al Maktoum International Airport, close to the Palm Jebel Ali. This location was specifically chosen as it was close to the future location of Expo 2020, the delayed World's Fair that will hopefully now take place this year in 2021, beginning on the 1st of October and running for around 6 months. As this project was beginning just as Dubai Land was beginning to fall apart, a lot of bigger names from that project moved over to Dubai Parks and Resorts, including Merlin, who brought over Legoland, as well as DreamWorks, who at one stage was set to have their own entire park at the Dubai Land project. But if you are interested in more on Dubai Land, the world's largest theme park failure, be sure to check out our video on the topic. Throughout the planning stages, several other properties were expected to be a part of the project, but were changed before opening, including, most interestingly, a 20th Century Fox land in the parcel that would eventually become home to Lionsgate at the Motion Gate Park. In the land would have been some exciting attractions, including a Titanic walkthrough experience, perhaps similar to what was once on offer at the Fox Studios backlot in Sydney, as well as an escape from the Planet of the Apes attraction. Vertical construction would begin in August of 2014, leaving them with around 2 years to construct the 3 theme parks, 1 water park, as well as the surrounding resort area before it would open to guests. Several experienced theme park operators were brought on board to run the day-to-day operations of the park, including Parques Reunidos for Motion Gate and Merlin for Legoland. Construction moved along at a brisk pace, but predictably missed its intended October 2016 opening for the entire resort and instead moved to phased openings. With Legoland and the resort's shopping and dining area Riverland opening just in time on the 31st of October 2016, with Bollywood Parks, Legoland Water Park and the Lapita Hotel opening on November 15th, And finally, Motion Gate Dubai, opening on December 16th. Each park would open with a number of attractions, entertainment offerings, and more. Legoland would open with over 40 experiences for the family, from rides to build zones to a massive undercover mini-land. Bollywood Parks would open with only a handful of rides, mostly being simulator-based attractions, as well as numerous shows. Motion Gate was easily the biggest and most impressive of them all though. With over 25 rides and a multitude of shows, this looked to be the must-do park of the resort. So far, all of this sounds pretty typical. So, where are all the promised failures, Mr. Voiceover Man, I hear you ask? Don't worry, we're getting to them. The first problem to hit the parks is that they simply weren't ready to open. Even after the initial opening delays of a few weeks to a couple of months, when the parks did open, they still weren't ready to. Take Motion Gate for example. It only opened with 3 of its 5 lands operational: Studio Central, the park's main street, Smurfs Village, and Columbia Pictures. With DreamWorks and Lionsgate both not ready to open with the park on December 15th. The unfinished sections would slowly open in dribs and drabs, with DreamWorks and the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs ride opening a few weeks later, and Lionsgate opening a good few months later, meaning that of the 27 promised attractions, only 11 were operating on opening day, and most of these were operating with technical issues. Things were similar at Bollywood Parks, with only a handful of the park's minuscule number of attractions being ready for opening, and all of those that were essentially the same ride. A 4D cinema like you would get at your local mall, not at a worldwide theme park destination. Legoland was probably the least troublesome park, as it is just a small Lego theme park similar size to some of the others around the world, with about what you'd expect from a Legoland park inside, including attractions for smaller children and a large, impressive mini-land area. Put simply, the resort was constructed and opened too quickly, with only around 2 years from the parks going vertical to opening day, meaning there was no way they could have debuted effectively. You only get one chance at a first impression, and Motion Gates was of a half-closed park that saw technical difficulties on pretty much every attraction that was open. One of the other largest issues to prospective guests was the astronomical ticket price upon opening. Prices started at $65 a day for the Legoland Water Park or Bollywood Park, and went up to $80 a day for Motion Gate or Legoland, which is okay in the worldwide scheme of things, but most of the visitors at this stage were going to be locals, and the annual pass prices were ridiculous. To access all of the parks for a year would cost you $680, only $70 less than a Walt Disney World annual pass at the time, or $80 more than a Disneyland one. And then on top of that, you had to pay to park every time you visited. This is a fair bit different to the $27 you can currently get a one-day ticket to Bollywood Parks for on Klook, meaning that even Dubai Parks and Resorts realized their ticket prices were unrealistic. And the ticket prices were unrealistic because they were charging a premium price for something that ultimately turned out to not be a premium product. Theme parks in Dubai are built by people who visit Orlando and go, I can do that too, without understanding what exactly is required to build a project of this scale. In one of the promotional videos, aliens come down and magically build this theme park destination in the middle of the desert, and built by aliens who don't quite understand what a theme park is exactly how these parks feel. Imagine you tried to explain to an intergalactic traveler what a theme park is, and they'd probably end up building Dubai Parks and Resorts. Sure, all the basics are there, but none of the nuance is. Take, for example, the Smurfs Studio Tour Dark Ride. All of the requirements for a dark ride are present. A ride vehicle, some scenery, some sadly lackluster animatronics, though nothing worse than on some of the Disney rides, but the attraction lacks any form of transition between the scenes, and the large, warehouse-style lighting makes it painfully obvious of the big black walls and roofs between the scenes. These issues aren't just unique to the Smurfs attraction though. With the Ghostbusters Shooter Dark Ride taking place in a bizarrely large show building, of which only a quarter is covered by a facade, and the attraction being described best by Theme Park University as the immersive sets of a high school play combined with the charm of Nintendo Duck Hunt. MotionGate Dubai has an incredible selection of strong IPs, but they have pulled them off with poor execution. Whilst the DreamWorks area is strong and there are a number of standout, decent attractions in the park, most seem to be missing something. Budget cuts are also evident throughout, with attractions such as the Green Hornet Wild Mouse Coaster lacking any of the promised theming, making it nothing special from the countless other versions of this ride in the world. Guests immediately noticed these issues and simply didn't come to the resort. Initially, they intended to welcome 6 million guests in the first year of operation. However, in the first 11 months, they only welcomed 1 million, chalking up an over $150 million loss during that time, with the on-site hotel only sitting at around a 27% capacity. CEO of the resort, Mohammed Al-Mul, midway through 2017, the park's first full year of operation, said the projection of 6.7 million visitors for 2017 is not the base we are going forward with anymore, essentially admitting defeat for the abnormally high attendance predictions. Al-Mul also went on to say that 2018/2019 will be the true indication of the organization's success, with a Legoland Hotel and a Six Flags Dubai set to be open by the end of 2019. Yes, a resort that was struggling to get guests to attend its 3 theme parks was planning on building another gate, spreading out any visitors further and having to attract even more guests before hitting a break-even point. Dubai Parks and Resorts would attempt to build too much too quickly before they could even prove that their product would be a success. Numbers did grow in 2018 as expected, but saw only a 22% increase over 2017 numbers, leading to around 3 million guests visiting, which sounds pretty good until you realize that it's split across all 3 of the theme parks, only giving each around 1 million guests through the gates in a year, or on average, only around 2,700 guests per park per day. In 2019 and into 2020, things were starting to look up, with the company reporting that for the first time, they broke even in a quarter. But this wasn't exactly what you might guess, as fewer guests actually came through the gates. They just managed to cut costs elsewhere. You would think that a resort that has continued to hemorrhage money and has lost over 85% of the value of its stock since being floated would be likely to just throw up its hands and give up. But Dubai Parks and Resorts has almost done the opposite, recently announcing 12 new attractions coming to Bollywood and MotionGate parks. If you look deeper though, these attractions were originally planned and purchased for the now cancelled Six Flags Dubai, which was set to be the first expansion for this resort. Included in the attractions are 2 new coasters for MotionGate, including a John Wick-themed SNS 4D free spin with 2 separately themed queues, one where you can help the Keanu Reeves-played assassin, and one where you can hunt him. The other coaster is the Now You See Me High Roller. Entering through a casino, you take part in a grand heist the horsemen are pulling off, and board a Maura Ride spinning coaster, traveling along 519 meters of track at speeds of up to 70 kilometers an hour. Bollywood Parks is receiving the most attractions to hopefully add value to that park that guests agreed had too little to do. Among them are several family rides, a large observation Ferris wheel, a GCI wooden coaster, and interestingly, the world's tallest star flyer, standing at 460 feet tall. That's 140 meters for my fellow metric folk. The future is hopefully looking up for Dubai Parks and Resorts, with them beginning to reopen after the pandemic and Expo 2020 on the horizon. Bollywood Parks opened after its closure on the 21st of January 2021, with 9 of its 10 new attractions open and ready to go. And this is just hopefully the first step in the path to success for this resort. Dubai Parks and Resorts might be the epitome of the Dubai theme park plans. Try to go too big, too fast without really knowing what's required for a successful theme park venture. But at least this resort, unlike most we've talked about, actually opened. From the home of all things theme parks, I'm Luke for ReviewTyme. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If so, be sure to like and subscribe, and also tune into our podcast, ReviewTyme's Theme Park Cast, available on your podcasting platform of choice.